Last week we struggled with the scorching Portuguese weather while we tackled some stonework and rebuilt the gable ends.
And this week we're back to work on the tiny cottage, adding strength to the old stone walls by starting to build out the concrete ring beam. Wood. Yeah, so I'm actually quite excited today to be working with wood rather than stone, because as much as I love the finished look of the stonework, working with stone is slow, it's heavy, you put in a real long day's work and never really feel like you've got that much done, whereas with wood, you can just get so much more achieved in a day. So this is all the wood for our ring beam form. So the plan for today is to get this cut to size, fitted together and up in place. So that means that full length, 596 less 11.5 on that side, 11.5 on that side. Right, so that outer bit wants to be 573.
Yep. The wood cut now to make up the front and the back pieces of the form. Those walls though are really long, so we didn't have one piece of wood that was going to span that whole length, so we've got several pieces that we need to fasten together. So we've got some offcuts that we're going to be able to use for their job. Feeling
strong. I think that was a bit more difficult than it needed to be. So if you're wondering what we're doing, we are wrapping the wood in like a plastic for two reasons really. One, to make it easier to get the form off, but the main reason is that this is a lot of wood. Wood is expensive nowadays, as I'm sure many of you are very aware, and we want to be able to reuse it. So yeah, we tried to just wrap that whole kind of nearly 6 meter long piece on the top. Too fiddly, it's too weighty. I think if we individually wrapped them going forward, that's going to make our lives a whole lot easier, and I'm all for making anything easier.
squeezing into any little bit of shade we can find today.
It's absolutely scorchio. Without having a roof on here, the second the sun comes over the top by like midday, it's so hot inside here. We bought a gazebo yesterday. Just a smallish one. I think it's 2 by 3 meters, if I remember rightly. I think that's going to have to be put up either later today or tomorrow. What do you reckon?
We need that erection.
This is one of those jobs. Hang on, let me turn the generator off. Oh, bit of peace and quiet. So, where was I? This is one of those jobs, doing this ring beam, where we've definitely made life difficult for ourselves. And I'm kind of here doing this, struggling along a little bit at times, if I'm being honest, and like thinking to myself, are we doing the right thing here? In the back of my mind, I know, yes, we are. We know the reasons that we're doing it is because we do not want to see the ring beam. We want to look at this building from the inside and the outside and only see stone. We want it to look traditional. All throughout the day today, I've been able to keep reminding myself when I'm getting frustrated, this is what we want. It will all turn out well in the end. And I hope it does. Okay, that's me done for the day. Haven't got quite as much done as I would like to, but it's all good progress. And just to clarify, when I said before about we're making it harder for ourselves, the reason that is because where the form wants to sit on the wall, traditionally when you do a ring beam, you have it run front to back. So you just have kind of a support fixed to the wall, then fixed to the piece of wood, holding it straight along the wall. Because ours is set in from the wall, instead of the piece of wood staying straight, it's wanting to twist and turn. So yeah, we're having to manhandle it a little bit. I think once the full thing is put together, it will twist it all into the right place. But whilst we're doing that, it makes things a little bit tricky, a little bit more difficult to handle, but we'll get there in the end. I'm just packing up. See you bright and early tomorrow morning. It's amazing that we're making progress on the tiny house. However, that is coming at a price. And that price is that the land here is getting a little bit neglected because we're putting all of our spare time into the tiny house renovation. Combined with the fact that at this time of year with the fire risk, we cannot use the lawnmower because of the metal blades might catch a stone and create a spark. And then I think Victoria told you a few weeks ago that our strimmer broke. So that combination of things has meant that the grass here is getting absolutely out of control, and that is very dangerous at this time of year. Plus, we've had all of the foxtails and the grass seeds coming out, which is not good for the dogs. It's not great for us either when we're walking around in shorts and things because they spike into your legs, they spike into your shoes. So yesterday evening, popped out and bought a replacement strimmer so we can start to get on top of it. So annoyingly, there wasn't actually anything wrong with the motor on the old strimmer. The motor's running absolutely perfectly. It's basically just the handle sheared right in the middle and just completely snapped off. And I tried to fix it by putting some pipe inside and screwing it together, but it was just a bit wobbly. It worked for a little bit, but it was very, very temporary fix, so I had to get a new one. But I really don't want to throw the old one away, seeing as the motor's still good. So if anybody's got any creative ideas as to what you can do with a little 2-stroke motor, let me know in the comments. I don't really know much about motors, but I'm willing to give anything a go. Well, it feels very good to have made a start on that. What's happening here? Go Gadget Visor. Yeah, so I've done about an acre, about half an acre actually. Only 2.5 more to go, but that is not gonna happen today because I am absolutely melting right now. So the rest of it will have to wait for another day. But we've made a start at least, and that's the hardest part.
We're determined to get this form completed this morning. We are both feeling just a little bit tired though. We've been starting to get up at 5:30. With this hot weather, it's so much better getting up earlier, and it also means that the dogs can have a really good run around in the cool morning. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty exhausted to be honest. I think the body clocks haven't quite adjusted to getting up that bit earlier.
Before getting started properly though, I'm going to move this because moving the scaffold around in here is tightening up at the best of times, but we were basically dancing around this yesterday. Nothing like hauling rubble in the morning to wake you up. What a mess! I've just tidied that.
Well, my apologies, but it's a building site, not a kitchen.
Oh! The kitchen.
Okay, that wasn't that wasn't a sexist comment. I was making the point of a kitchen is meant to be clean, a building site isn't. Victoria's out here trying to get me cancelled.
It's that point of the day where the sun is just super high in the sky, so there's not a lot of shade available. So I popped up to the house, checked on the dogs, grabbed the gazebo we actually bought the other day at the shop, and I had the intention of just coming back, putting it together, and in the space of about 10 minutes, it's completely clouded over. But I'm pretty sure that within another half an hour it'll clear again, as is normal in Portugal, so I'm sure we'll get some use out of it before the end of the day. So far, so good. I've got all the parts and they seem to be going together pretty easily. The only weird thing about this kit is that there's no number 3. Number 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. No 3. Well, that was easy. Much easier than doing the real roof. Maybe we should use a gazebo over the top of the tiny house.
Oh, right, that's the last one on. Job done. Good timing as well because the sun is literally about to set and the wind is picking right up. And it's not ideal being this high up when the wind's trying to blast you off the scaffolding. Overall, really happy with how it's turned out. As you can see behind me, there's big gaping holes underneath the form on the gable ends, and that's because where we had to take stones out to be able to get this line, it was just unavoidable. Sometimes you had to take out a much bigger stone, even though you wanted to gain an inch or two, you had to take the whole thing out. So they need kind of plugging back with stone and mortar before we can pour the concrete, and then along the front and back walls where it's a lot more flat, there's just kind of small slithers that will need filling in before the concrete goes in, and we're either going to do that with mortar or potentially expanding foam, which we'll then remove later. We're not too sure, but yeah, overall very happy with how this has turned out, and it won't be too much longer. we'll have concrete in it.
Obviously we've got so much more to do, but it definitely feels like a turning point because week after week now we're actually adding to the building rather than just taking away.